Hello, and welcome to this practical reinforcement learning with Python course. My name is Edward Pai, and I'm going to be your instructor for this course. Now, if you are somebody who have had interest in reinforcement learning, I'm sure it is not far-fetched if I tell you it is hard to come by practical information that has the right blend of mathematical explanations with practical coding to make the subject of reinforcement learning fun. And this has been the challenge I faced when I first got started with reinforcement learning. And so I set out to create a set of video series that I wish I had when I started learning reinforcement learning, with the focus on being practical and being able to quickly apply the knowledge to real world scenarios or problems around me that I believed could be solved with reinforcement learning. So, what should you expect from this course? I'm going to make this course a practical, hands on approach in which algorithms will be implemented from scratch with Python. And I think this is very important because instead of letting you leverage already made frameworks or libraries that implement these algorithms, I believe strongly that you do not really understand something until you are able to implement it from scratch. So I'm going to make this course heavily focused on being able to implement most common reinforcement learning algorithms with Python from scratch. And I'm going to make this videos um, much fun and enjoyable through a fantastic teaching style that is going to make you have fun whilst you learn. And I'm sure you'll attest to this fact as you watch more and more of the videos after this particular episode. And like I said in the beginning, I am not going to make this too heavy on the mathematical formulas and proofs. Yes, those are important, but if you are anything like me, you think in code, and so um, you don't love to see mathematical formulas thrown at you, but you'd rather want to implement them in code. And that is how I learned best. So there are books I have picked, and then they showed me mathematical formulas on the first page. So that got me very disinterested in the book. But later on, I realized after seeing the same algorithm implemented in code, I realized it wasn't that hard to understand the mathematics. So what I'm going to do in this course is to make a perfect blend between an intuitive understanding of the mathematics and the practical implementation of those algorithms. So I'm going to focus on intuitive understanding of the underlying mathematics. And so once you have that intuitive understanding with the practical hands-on approach of being able to implement them from scratch, I think that is a good combination and is a perfect blend for anybody that wants to set out doing wonderful things with the interesting field of reinforcement learning. And another thing I'm going to do in this course is to use interesting illustrations to reinforce your understanding of RL methods. So a, they said a, a picture speaks more than 1,000 words. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this course is to try to show you a lot of beautiful and interesting illustrations that would help you to digest the information you receive as you watch the videos, and also help the knowledge to settle down in your brain with a solid understanding that you'll always be able to recall and apply when necessary. And like I mentioned, I'm going to let us implement all algorithms from scratch without third-party packages. And the reason I said earlier is because I believe you never understand something well enough until you're able to implement it from scratch. So that is the reason why we are going to implement these algorithms from scratch. And another thing I'm going to do is to have lots of discussions on practical real life applications of RL. So it is one thing knowing about the techniques of reinforcement learning, and it is another thing knowing or being able to identify real world scenarios in which you can apply reinforcement learning. So, what I'm going to do in this course is to help you with as much discussions on practical real life applications as possible, so that you'll be able to have a mental model of the type of situations or problems in real life that are um, possible to be solved through the applications of reinforcement learning. And I'm also going to teach through slides like you are seeing now, and I'm also going to have whiteboard explanations, and it is technically actually going to be on my iPad. So um, there are times where I will split the screen and then you see me, especially when we are talking about the mathematical formulas, and I'm trying to give you an intuitive understanding of what goes on behind the scenes. What I'll be doing then is to show you the screen of my iPad, and I will be writing with my Apple Pencil on it. So you have the whiteboard experience we are used to in classrooms, okay? So that you get to follow the way I think through the problem and the way I explain it to you, so it makes perfect sense for you. And another thing that I'm going to ensure is, of course, that you have a lot of fun whilst you learn at the same time, okay? So what is expected of you to succeed in this course? As much as you have expectations of this course, I also have expectations of you. I have things that I expect you to know before you can succeed in this course, and they are basically just few. The first one is I need you to have basic Python programming skills. So you don't need to be a ninja when it comes to Python, but you need to be able to define functions, be able to create classes, understand inheritance, the basic object-oriented principles of Python, and those should be enough to get you through this course. And the next thing I wish you will have is a little experience with the NumPy and Matplotlib packages in Python. This is not a hard requirement, because where necessary, I'm going to give you an introduction and I'm going to explain any functions that I use from these packages. But of course, if you do know them already, then it is going to be an advantage for you. And the most important thing that I require from you is your passion to learn and apply knowledge. So if you are passionate, I can tell you that you will succeed in this course even if you don't have Python experience. And the reason I'm saying passion is the most important thing is I have had experiences where I learned or I took courses and I finished them even though I didn't have all the prerequisites, and it was born out of passion. So passion helped me to go back to learn everything I needed to learn to be able to succeed in that course. So your passion is most important, because there are points where you may not understand things that I have explained, and it will feel like you've hit a roadblock. But if you're passionate enough, you can search online, you can reach out to me through email. I'm going to show you my email, my phone numbers, and how you can contact me. And you'll be able to go any extent you have to go to really get an understanding of the knowledge that you seek. So lastly, I'm going to talk about me, and my name is Edward Pai. I like to describe myself as somebody who writes code for anything that has the capacity to run code. So uh, I don't want to be known as a mobile app developer, a web app developer. I believe I write code. So as long as you put anything that has the capacity to run code in front of me, I should be able to program it to do whatever it is you want it to do. And I currently live and work as a backend engineer in Berlin, Germany, and I'm also an AI practitioner. I'm an enthusiast. I love AI, and I'm really excited about reinforcement learning because of its potential when it comes to the vision of reaching artificial general intelligence. And so, if you want to reach out to me with your questions, with your requests, with your comments, feel free to email me. Send an email to hackstockpie@gmail.com. Or if you want to call me or test with me, then you can test me on this WhatsApp number. But if you want to have a normal call with me, then you can reach me on my German line, which is only reachable through normal call. So I don't use this number on WhatsApp, so you can't test me on WhatsApp using this number. So that is it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.